If anybody was to ask me these days, who are you? What are you? What do you do? Then all these questions, they're unanswerable, really. They're only answerable, particularly to the man in the street, if there's a level of uniformity to the answer. I.e., hello Peter, what do you do? I'm a carpenter. Oh, okay. And so, somewhere in the realm of what it is to be a human being, a carpenter can define a certain sort of person. I.e., well, this person is a reasonably learned person in that the chances are they've been to college, they've studied the trade, they've done the apprenticeship, and now they have a profession. It's a manual job. It involves a bit of measurement and being dexterous with your hands in relation to hammers and chisels and saws and that sort of thing. And so if somebody says to you that they're a carpenter, then you've got this borne in mind, haven't you? And then you think like, well, the chances are that he's a subcontractor or may have his own business, and so he's a bit of a businessman also. Because being a carpenter, that position in any one place doesn't last forever, does it? It only lasts as long as it takes to create and build whatever is required. And so generally then carpenters, they're moving on to location to location, and invariably they are self-employed. So we can say that then. We could try to define ourselves, and if people are not philosophers, then they are quite happy just to state that. I'm a carpenter, that's it. Oh, I'm a dad as well. Oh, okay, so when you say you're a dad, then we all know what it is to be a dad. So people can get some sort of a level of acceptance and glean a little bit of knowledge which fits into the parameters of everyday parlance. If, on the other hand, somebody asked me, like, what are you? I would say, well, I am a collection of experiences. And then, obviously, that will throw a spanner in the works, unless, of course, you're in a philosopher's club, and they'll go, well, I mean, what can we determine from that? We've got no idea. We can't pigeonhole you from that information. You're a collection of experiences. Well, what do you mean? Are you a carpenter? No, I'm not a carpenter. Well, are you a builder? Are you a teacher? What are you? Difficult to say, isn't it? You see, I have been a carpenter of a sort. I have been a builder of a sort. I'm a teacher of a sort now. And I've been teaching in the past in certain regions, i.e. scuba diving. I was an instructor of scuba diving at some stage, and I used to teach karate. And so, and of course I teach people how to operate computers and how to do the job I wanted them to do within my business. And so I've been a teacher most of my life in some shape or form. But does that define me? No, it doesn't. Well, if we get back to then the I'm a collection of experiences, let's see if we can transfer that onto the whole of humanity. Because if we do this, then I think we'd be better equipped to understand what really are you. Because just to say you're a carpenter, that is a concept which is in the realm of this matrix. And any of you philosophers out there or spiritualists, any of you that's really looked into it, then you'll know that these are just concepts, and if you're asking a philosophical question, then all of these things, they just pale into oblivion, because there's a non-reality to them all, really. It's all fiction. Even for me to say that I'm a collection of experiences. Well, how much of that is fiction? Well, what do you mean by experiences? Do you mean you've felt stuff? You've heard stuff? You've seen stuff? Yeah. Okay. So, all the stuff that you've seen countries, and you've seen buildings and woods and nature and all this sort of thing. So you've seen some stuff. Well, we've all been seeing this stuff. And so we're all kind of like a collection of experiences, aren't we? Yeah. So what do we derive from that? Being a collection of experiences. Well, you see, when people say, I am this and you are that, well, if you look for the you and if you look for the I, then you say, well, okay, what is it then to be an I? Well, I, me, and you start pointing to the body. And then if we look really at the body, you know, in the realm of quantum physics, then we'll see, well, no. You see, that's only an illusion. It's just a concept, because the body doesn't exist. Okay then, well, what is it that's thinking? Well, the brain appears to be doing the thinking, but again, there's no brain. Okay, so, I mean, there's nothing to feel or touch here, and there's nothing to think with, so what is it actually that's having this experience? Well, it's supposed to be consciousness that's having the experience. Okay, well, I'm consciousness then. Hang on, you just pointed to you, I'm consciousness. Where is consciousness? Well, it comes from a brain, doesn't it? No. Well, some scientists say it do. Yeah, well, there's a lot of other scientists that say it doesn't. And so, we've got people saying it does and people say it doesn't. And if you look across life, then we've got all people saying all things all the time. Does that mean it's true? If you want to believe that consciousness derives from the brain because it's simple for you and it solves all of the speculation and bewilderment, then you go, yeah, my brain's responsible for my consciousness, and that's it, period. Then you can get on with being whatever you're labelled as being. Mother or father, a carpenter, a secretary, whatever it is. Are we going to have a storm? And so, you see, people, I'm at this stage now where I've acquired a lot of information, and this is why I appear to be somewhat strange sometimes and immensely convoluted and contradictory, because I realise that I am a product of the universe, and the universe is a paradox. And so I embrace my paradoxical nature, and I don't have any issues at all in being paradoxical, because anybody that's learned in this realm will tell you that it's the fundamental thing, the paradox. And so what do we do then when we realise that we're in a paradox? We have to try to make some sense of it. We have to try to work around it. Whenever you listen to any gurus, any spiritualists, any philosophers, you will see that they cannot escape the paradox. A mathematician can escape the paradox. If you've got somebody which is versed in literature, then if they are careful, then they can escape the paradox. But if you are a philosopher, and if you're looking for the answers, then you cannot escape the paradox. And so it depends what world you want to dwell in. Now, most people, they want to dwell in the Matrix world, whereby they've labelled everything, they've got a concept for everything, and there's a certain simplicity to it. But it isn't real. Doesn't mean that's real. There's one world, or one illusion going on here. This is the illusion. And so, within the illusion, because we're in it, because consciousness has decided in its infinite wisdom that it wants to create, like human beings with a sentience, it seems like we're sentient, we think. You see, when we always go, we think, it's coming from here. But more and more these days, scientists are going to discover, and they are discovering, that actually it isn't coming from here, it's all around. And we are like transceivers, we're transmitting and we're receiving. And so this is what the brain seems to be doing. It seems to be a portal, a transmitter and a transceiver. And so then when you start to look deeper then for this ever elusive consciousness, we think, well, if it isn't in here, then what's the point in having this, really? Well, this is for the illusion, because if you can't have this, if you didn't have this, then we'd just be pure awareness and there'd be nothing to experience via. What I'm getting to here, people, is that you viewers looking at me, and you can see from all the videos and ways of looking at things that I come from, and all the experiences that I have, and all the role playing that I'm doing. You see, if we don't role play, then again, there's no purpose to what we're doing here. There's no point in being here. We have to role play, and we have to say, I'm this and I'm going to do that and we're going to do it together, and you build up a fantasy and imagination of what you're going to be doing, and within this illusion, because you believe it's all true, you accept that it's all true, then you carry on doing it. And again, in relation to the paradox, there is a certain reality here. Obviously, we all live and we all die and we all feel pain and all the rest of it. But that's one facet of the paradox, because the other facet of the paradox is that it's not here. And there's a whole lot of evidence from people having many experiences, I've spoken about it umpteen times before, that they say there's nothing here. And when you have this so-called enlightening experience, then you know that there's nothing here, basically, except you. There's nothing outside of your consciousness, which is consciousness in itself, and consciousness is experiencing everything. And so you say to yourself, well, you're pure consciousness, you're pure awareness. And yet we have to come back to earth with a bump into this body and carry on living and existing within this illusion. And so this is what makes my life kind of complex, that I'm living in both of these worlds, knowing that it's an illusion, having experienced that it's all illusory, and having gained a lot of knowledge that tells me also that other people, scientists and spiritualists, have discovered that it's an illusion. And so therefore I've took that on board, at least 50%. You can't take it really any more than that, otherwise you become dysfunctional. You can't walk around this world, you can't live and exist in it if you're going to be immersing yourself into the illusion, because then you won't believe anything, you won't love or care for anybody, you won't enjoy anything, and there'll be no point of living because, well, it's just an illusion, it's just a dream. And so therefore we have to embrace it that way. And so I'm doing that, I'm embracing this, and I'm realising that it's difficult often when I convey lots of my parables and illustrations, because I slip into the complete awareness perspective and back then into the matrixial perspective. But you see, we're all this dichotomous creature. We are all something but nothing. We've got two things going on. We've got this somethingness apparently, but then there's a nothingness that seems to be everythingness. But when we get down to the real fundamental basis of trying to find this nothingness, when we're in this nothingness, it feels like it's everythingness. Even though there's nothing there, it's just blackness, but it feels like it's everythingness. Again, we find ourselves in the paradox. I've been in deep meditations whereby I've had these experiences where I am immense and I know everything, but there's no I, it's just there's an awareness there that knows everything. And then when I've come out of the meditation and I realise that, you know, I am in a body, or it is in a body, or I'm sharing a body, whatever I is, you know, will we ever be able to really determine what this I is? No, because the I doesn't exist. Look for the I, you won't find it. Oh, I'm this and I'm that. Well, what are those? They're just concepts. They're just experiences. All you are is a conglomerate of experiences. That's all we are. And so, when we look at people then, what are we perceiving? We're perceiving a conglomerate of experience. 7.5 billion people experiencing things in their own way. And so, how can we then judge other people? How can we try to rationalise other people? How can we try to reason with other people? How can we try to get a similar perspective with other people? We can only do this if other people have travelled a similar path. And so this is what I'm getting to now. The people that are viewing this, you, the viewer, you obviously have something akin to me. And we've spoken about it lots of times, that as soon as we start to speak, we've never met each other before, then there's great fluidity, and there's a real nice vibration, and we can talk forever and ever and ever. Why is this? We've not had the same experiences. Why can we speak with such affection and passion about many, many subjects when we've not shared them together? Well, because you've had them, I've had them, similar sort of experiences, we've gathered similar sort of knowledge, and so this is the thing that we've become. We've become this knowledge, and this knowledge gets lonely, and it has a certain longing that it wants to be with other specks of knowledge. And this is the whole thing about consciousness. You can look at certain people talking about consciousness and saying, well, speck of consciousness originally was all that existed. And it's very much like the Big Bang. You know, a speck of matter was what constituted the Big Bang. And everything made manifest out of that. It's the same with consciousness, because we can't fathom any other explanation. So what we have to do is we have to start off small, because we can't start off with nothing, because we don't know how nothing turns into something. So we have to have something to start from. So we say speck of consciousness, and then the speck of consciousness felt lonely, so then it wanted a partner, so then it produced 2, then it produced 4, then it produced 8, and on and on and on. And so now we've got all of these creatures all over the world with a level of consciousness and awareness. And so the consciousness overall is experiencing itself via all of these creatures, and no doubt plants. I will think even the world is conscious also. Everything is conscious, because everything is in consciousness. And so just because we can't perceive it, just because I can't perceive consciousness in these plants, well, how on earth do they make these beautiful designs? How on earth do they protect themselves with those barbs coming up there? Evolution? Well, okay, I mean, I reckon evolution needs consciousness. It needs to be aware of what the fuck's going on, of what it's doing. You know, an apple tree has to be aware of producing fruit that are going to be palatable for animals such as us to eat them. Because if they make them bitter as fuck, then nobody's going to eat them, no animal's going to eat them, and so the apple tree is not going to last very long, is it? So therefore it's got to have some sort of awareness about what it's doing. And you can look, you can observe plants and trees, and you can see that absolutely for sure they do have an awareness. And many scientists are doing experiments with plants these days, and they are discerning that they have a sort of consciousness. We don't know where it is because they don't have a brain, but they know what they're doing. And so I'm just trying to express how it is that I am like I am. What is it that I've become? From one day to the next, I'm just a larger conglomerate of experiences. Why do I make videos about all these different things? Why do I appear to be agitated on one and then completely at peace on another? What's happening to my state of mind? Am I really like that? Am I really so dichotomous? Am I really kind of like bipolar? One day you seem angry, Aaron, and then the next day you're blissed out. What the fuck? How can that happen in like less than 24 hours? Well, simply because it's not happening. Because I am just role-playing. I choose to play a role about various things, but because I've had a lot of experience, egoic experiences, because I've had powerful experiences, then I express myself in a powerful sort of way. I don't express myself like some little weedy guru type bloke. I'm not all meek and humble, because meek and humble hasn't been my experience. I've never been humble. I've never been meek. I don't know what it is to be these things. I only know what it is to be strong, to be brave, and to go out and take whatever I wanted from this world. And that's how and why I am like I am. And I can't be anything else, evidently. And so, if I make a video tomorrow, I ask myself, well, what's happening? Why do I make this video tomorrow? Well, I've no idea what I'm going to be making tomorrow, but for sure, there's going to be influences upon the way which are going to be dictating whatever it is that I am going to be expressing, because I have acquired new information, new feelings. I've been moved in a certain way due to whatever. I'm sitting here now and I'm moved by these. I was moved by these sufficiently enough to come down to sit among them and to allow you to bless these upon your eyes. It's all by design, people. It wasn't just happenstance. I've not just pulled the camera out of a bag and sat down. Oh, what? Look at those pretty things behind. I came down here from my apartment purposefully to make this video for you, so it's a nicer environment instead of just talking in what some people call my sterile apartment. So because I've seen these before, and the vision and the concept and perception have come into my mind, and I've archived it, and I've said to myself, one day I'll do a video there. Today I'm here. Why today? Why not yesterday? Why not, you know, tomorrow? Well, because it's just happened so it's today. So what can we say then about what we do and why we do what we are, and what we call ourselves and what we think we are? It's just because we experience a whole myriad of stuff, most of it subconsciously, and the stuff we experience subconsciously is all getting registered, and at some stage the unconscious and its infinite wisdom, it deems that this is relevant now and it pops it up. And so we think like, where did that come from? And sometimes I say, I don't know why I'm making these videos. It seems like I'm channeling. Well, whether it's coming from the Akashic Records or whether it's coming from deep within my unconscious, it's the same thing really, because we can't see into either of them. And the whole thing, the Freudian thing about the unconscious, is that we don't know what the unconscious has inside it. We only can speculate that it's got a massive information, because under hypnosis we can retrieve information, and we can bring about memories of like 30, 40, 50 years ago in some people. So then we are starting to discern that the unconscious then retains absolutely every single thing that we've ever experienced, but it doesn't give it to us on an everyday basis in our consciousness, because it'd be too overwhelming to have all that information. So it makes it simple. So the unconscious goes to sleep, or it lies dormant as far as the everyday consciousness is concerned, until whatever it is that's running this vessel deems that information might be appropriate. So what can we say then? What can I say about myself? What can I say why I'm making these videos? Due to the experiences that I've had. That's it. Simple. I can't think of anything else as to why I'm doing this. Oh, because you love humanity. No! Fuck no! Honestly, I want to give myself a good kicking most of the time for labouring over what I've been doing for all this time. And you see now, after 5 years, all the information I've given for free, all the advice, and I've been so great to loads of people. How many people have come forward to offer me some sort of respect and to want to continue on their journey with me? You know how many? 18 or 20. 20 people. That's all. Bizarre, yeah? Very bizarre. And so, in time, obviously, it will increase. Because I know that this is a business. And I know that people need to be guided, they need to be manipulated, they need to be under hypnosis. And there's nothing bad about this from my perspective. Oh, you're hypnotising people. Look, we're all under hypnosis to some degree. If I want people to come to my site then I have to have them under some sort of hypnosis. I will have to keep advertising myself. Advertising, advertising, advertising. Just like they do freaking cornflakes or baked beans on the television. You advertise and you advertise until it goes into somebody's unconscious, and then they decide that, oh, I feel like baked beans today. So by the time I've banged on about my site, come and join my site, look at what great fun we're having in my site, oh, the Ascending Awakened Brave, la-di-da-di-da, you've got to keep doing it. Do you think any president would ever get elected without advertising, without brainwashing the public? No. The public need brainwashing because they don't have brains of their own. They can't think on their own, most of them. And this is the hard fact. And so, for the next month, I don't know how long it's going to take, I'm going to need to keep banging up videos on that site, even though I don't want anything to do with it really. But that site is going to be the source of new people. We need more variety on this site. We need at least 50. 100 would be nice. Then we've got a broad spectrum of human beings within our fraternity, which would make it a whole lot more interesting than 20. And so I'll keep working at it, and I'll keep up with the hypnosis. Yeah. And at the end of the day, some people, oh, you're starting a cult, this, that and the other. Look, when you go to school, you're under hypnosis. When they're teaching you 2 and 2 is 4, you're under hypnosis. The teacher is saying, trust in me. I know what's right. Okay, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And then some kids in the class, hang on, miss, 2 plus, what's plus? Plus is when you add. Oh, okay, 2 add 2 equals 4. Okay, hypnosis, people. You could say, well, that's just teaching. Well, it's all a variety of hypnosis. Because what it's doing, it's conditioning the mind. And that's what hypnosis does. And so you can look at how the schooling's been conducted since 1550. It's been hypnosis all along. Look at the media, it's hypnosis all along. Look at governments, it's hypnosis all along. Look at absolutely everything. How they want to move you, manipulate you, hypnosis all day long. Every single neon sign down the street, every single billboard, hypnosis, people. And so when we know it, when we can engage with it, when we know how the psychology works, then this is what we do. And this is how all businesses do. They look at the market, they look at the culture, and they say to themselves, how can I gain the interest of this particular culture, the people in this culture? What do they like? What do they respond to? Ooh, let me know a little bit about their minds so I can then target these minds. Yes, target. And so when people are sitting in traffic, then someone come up with the idea, well, let's have big billboards as big as houses, so they see them every single day when they're driving down the same road going to work, and they're bored out their fucking minds, and they're under hypnosis in any case, because they've gone into the alpha realm of mind pulses per second, which is just below the everyday thinking of beta. Fully compass mentis is beta, then you slip into alpha, and you'll know when you're driving along the motorway, all of a sudden you don't remember what you've passed because you've gone into the alpha state, you've gone into the hypnotic state. And so most people spend their lives in this hypnotic state because they're not in the present, they're not in the now, they're not concentrating, they're not looking all around them and asking, what's going on here then, what's going on there then, oh yeah, oh I get it now, all this business. Anyway, this video has been long enough. Hope you've enjoyed it. The sun's just about to go around this cliff face here, and I'm going to have a walk down the front and do a walking meditation. See you later, guys.